Hey guys, welcome back to Holly Off-Road. We work on four-wheelers, side-by-sides, sometimes lawnmowers. Right now we've got a Polaris Razor 170, and that's a 2013 model. And what this thing is doing is the brakes are locking up on it. Like the front wheels, they'll roll forward, but they won't roll backwards. They got a lot of drag on them. This front wheel's the same way, barely roll. Now it's real cold outside tonight. It's probably in the upper 20s. This thing's been sitting outside all day long. It rolled in the shop easy, but since it's been in here warm for about 30 minutes, now they're getting hard to turn. So as the temperature increases, it's harder to roll. Now the back, we've already loosened the bleeders on them, and so it rolls fairly easy, but it's starting to get a little drag on it. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you how to remove the master cylinder and clean it, because the bypass hole inside the master cylinder is has got stopped up, and that causes the brake fluid to not have anywhere to go, and so it creates pressure inside the line, causing the brakes to hold. So we're going to take care of that problem. I'm going to show you how. If your brakes are locked up where it won't roll, like if it's too hard to roll, you loosen your bleeder right here on the caliper. That's an 8mm wrench, okay? And I'm going to pull on this tire, and see it has resistance on it, and as I open that bleeder, it makes it easy to turn. And you can see fluid is coming out on its own. Without putting pressure on the pedal or anything, it has pressure on its own coming out. Okay. And see now, after loosening the bleeder and tightening it back, the wheel rolls freely. This is the master cylinder here. The brake pedal has a rod attached to the pedal that comes through here, is attached to the inside of this master cylinder. When you hit the pedal, it applies pressure internally. Your brake fluid reservoir is right here, and this one has been overfilled. You put your light behind it and you can see the fluid inside of it. Okay, so this is the reservoir, and it gravity feeds down into the top of the master cylinder here for the rear and the front. Okay, and then the brake fluid pressure when you hit the pedal is applied through the lines to the front wheels and the rear wheel. So we're going to drain the brake fluid from the reservoir, remove the lines from it, and remove the master cylinder from the machine. Okay, first we're going to remove this cap from the front of the master cylinder and let the fluid just drain out into the drain pan. I'm going to pull it off. Brake fluid's going to come out, go right in the catch pan. Okay. Loosen the cap and just let it all run out. Brake fluid probably needs to be changed anyway. This machine's a 2013 model, so it's about 8 years old now, and it's time to change the brake fluid anyway. Brake fluid absorbs the moisture out of the air, and when brake fluid gets moisture in it, or water always goes down. And so the lowest point is the brake calipers. If they have water in them, it'll rust up the piston and seize them up. So it's good to change your brake fluid at least every 5 or 6 years or sooner. It's cheap to prevent more costs down the road. Now I'm going to loosen my lines off. The clamps I took loose up here are 10mm. The lines, I believe, are 12. Loosen the banjo bolt for the front. Take caution, it has a sealing washer on both sides of the line. So So here's a washer on top. Get my light to stay. There's a washer on top of it. And a washer on the bottom. It stayed on the banjo bolt. That's called a banjo bolt because it has a hole through the side and a hole through the center. Brake fluid travels through the inside of the bolt, comes out this hole. Okay. Now loosen the rear banjo bolt. Okay. Don't lose a sealing washer. Remove the bolt. Stack it on the bolt too. All right, now the lines are disconnected. So now we're going to remove it. We're going to unbolt it from the firewall. I believe those are 12mm nuts as well. Good and tight. Alright, now if you look inside on the floorboard, you can go around the other side, Sammy.
Yep.
Okay, this is the brake pedal. We're going to remove this pin that holds the brake pedal in. It has a clevis pin on this side. Okay, just get your nail nose pliers in it. Just pull it straight out. Slide the pin out. That. Get some pressure. There it goes. Okay. Now our pedal is loose. So now we've got to hold this bolt and this bolt while I loosen the nuts on the outside of the firewall. Or 12mm. So I hold the wrench on this side. While loosening the nuts on the other side. They're not very tight, so that's good. Taking the upper nut off. So the weight of the master cylinder is holding pressure on the nut. So I'm going to hold up the end with one hand and somehow loosen the nut with the other hand. There it goes. Just slide it right out. Like that. Now, dump the excess out in the drain pan. there you have it. We'll go put it on the workbench and take it apart. So, normally what causes this problem, if you look down inside the top of both of these, there are two holes in here. Normally the small hole gets stopped up with trash particles or rust, because that small hole is where the pressure relieves through when you let off the brake pedal. Alright, now as you can see the two holes, the one has a tiny hole. Normally that's the problem. The master cylinders on four-wheelers are the same way, on the handlebars that you squeeze by hand on the right handlebar. It has the same tiny hole in those as well. But that's not what the problem is in this case. Okay, the actual problem is inside here. This is the plunger. The brake pedal rod right here pushes inside here. Okay, and when the little girl pushed the brake pedal down, it got stuck. It got stuck all the way in. So that is the problem. And it looks rusty, and I'm going to see if we can get that apart and clean it up. Right. Now remember, anytime you put a master cylinder in a vise or anything else that's made out of aluminum, don't tighten it down too tight. Just snug enough to hold it for you so you can work on it. If you over tighten it, you'll collapse the body of the master cylinder and ruin it, and then it will have to be replaced. This one may have to be replaced anyhow, but we're going to try to fix it first. Spray a little PB in it. This is just a wire brush that's used to clean the inside of copper pipe. I took it and cut the handle off and used it to wrap up some of this Scotch-Brite pad. It'll just wrap around it, and then Scotch-Brite will bust the inside of this board. Okay. Now you can see inside of it, it's real shiny now. All right, look how clean it is inside there. Can you see in there, Will?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we've got all that rust and trash out of it now. Spray PB in it again. Try to let it soak in around it. I'm going to try to get the plunger to break loose. What happened is the rider pushed the brake pedal down harder than she ever had before, and it pushed it farther than normal, and it froze in that position. We're going to try to rock it around and see if it'll come back up. Almost looks like you could thread a bolt into it. Pull one. Sure would be nice. I'll try my different assortment of metric and standard bolts. Till I find something that might thread in and grab hold. It's not threaded, but it has a lip on the inside that a bolt may catch. Alright, I'm going to vise it down again just to hold it. Don't get crazy. Ah, see that? It went farther than it was before. So it's freed up some. Man, we'll clean it out again. Now the piston is all the way down. I'm going to clean the bore all the way as far as I can. Good. I don't see any burrs in there. So try to see if our bolt can hang into it now and pull it back out. Okay, so our piston is jammed and the max cylinder is jammed all the way down. It doesn't want to relief back out. So I've been trying to find a way to get that piston out of it, and what I've done is I'm going to try air pressure. So I got the banjo bolt and I added some washers to it and threaded it in here so it stops up this hole. I'm going to use some air pressure in the bottom hole to shoot the piston out. Okay, I'm going to put a rag over it so that way it don't shoot out and hit somebody.
Yeah.
But the air pressure should push it out. Okay, look at that. There it is. Now, I'll remove this banjo bolt and these 3 washers. Alright, so pull the piston out. And that brake fluid look cruddy. Now, pull it. Spring on this one doesn't want to come off. That's good. So there are sealing rings right here. Right here, this is a sealing ring. It's tapered so it'll go in one way and have pressure behind it. Okay, and there's another one here. And you can see the rust built up around the piston right here. Okay, that's our problem, that rust. The tolerances on the outside of this and the inside of the cylinder are so close that when you get rust built up around it, it'll cause it to jam. So we're about to take care of that. So clean it off with a rag. We're going to be very careful we do not damage this rubber seal in the center here, okay? Or this one. We've got to get that rust off of there. So we're going to take this emery cloth, lay it right on the edge of the table. Try to get that rust off of there. There's other ways of doing it, but this is the safest way to not hurt the rubber seal. Okay, you can see it's taking the rust off. Okay. Then we've got it cleaned up pretty good. Then we'll take this Scotch-Brite pad and just squeeze around it. Continue with this a little bit. And remember, don't touch the rubber seal. You don't want to scuff it any. Okay. Now we'll take the Scotch-Brite pad again. Wrap around it. Okay, it's getting a lot better now. Now the rust is all gone off of it. It's clean, smooth, doesn't have any snags or ridges on it. Okay, so we'll set that down, and we're going to buff out the inside of that bore. But I'm not going to use this anymore. I'm going to use something that's smoother. Okay. That Scotch-Brite will clean it well. I want to use something that's going to really polish it. Now this wire brush head should go most of the way in there, but it won't go all the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a shop towel. Clean shop towel. Tear off a piece of it. Let the drill roll it up. Okay. Cram it down in there. Now look inside there. It's clean and buff with no scratches. Can you see down inside the bore? Somewhat. Okay. So the bore is clean and buffed. So now I'm going to clean it out well and blow it out with air. Here's my miniature drain fan.
Yeah.
Make sure you clean out all the sediments. We'll clean it up nice and new. Blow through all the orifices. Make sure there's no brake cleaner left in there, no carburetor cleaner. I'm gonna make sure all the trash is out. Okay, good. Looks clean. And always make sure the two tiny holes don't have anything obstructing them. Make sure there's no trash in there. When they do get stopped up, I take a wire from a wire brush and I clip one wire off. And I use some nail nose pliers with that one wire to work in and out of those holes. And that's all it'll take. So now we're going to mount it back in the vise. Put the piston in it. Wipe it off to ensure it's clean. Sit it down. Get your .4 brake fluid. I like to pour a little bit in the cap and just get it around that seal. Make sure it works around the seal. Okay. And also, you want to get it around this seal as well. Good clean brake fluid. It should push in there and come in and out on its own. It works good now. So now we're going to put the washer and the lock ring back in to hold the piston in place. I had to find small screwdriver. Okay, we'll go right down to the center to hold it in place so the washer can drop in. There we go. There it goes. Now, take another screwdriver and make sure that it locks in. Okay, you see how I done that? Went between the lock ring and the edge of the pliers, and I was able to push the piston down to squeeze the lock ring and drop it in place. Now the piston works freely like it should. Now, we'll go install this back in reverse order as we took it apart. It mounted with the boot mounted back on it. Slide it back to the firewall. Slip the top bolt through. Try to get the bottom one through. Okay. Now it'll hang there on its own with the bottom one in. I'll get the bottom nut started. I'll tighten it as far as I can by hand. Now I'll get the top one started. See, I'm holding it with a wrench on the inside. I'm going to tighten the bottom one just barely snug. Just two 12mm wrenches, all you need. Now tighten the top one. So now the clevis pin, I'll slide back through. Get the light where I can see better. Okay, slip through. Now I'll take the cotter pin. Find the hole. Nail nose plier. Lock it back in place. So now we're done installing the master cylinder to the pedal. Now, that's good for you to see that I unscrewed the clamp bolt too far and it fell out. So it goes back in threaded and a little washer goes on the end of it. I'm going to hand tighten the clamp just snug with my little 1/4-inch ratchet. Okay, you can tell when it's getting tight enough. Don't break it. When I was younger, I over tightened a lot of things and broke them. My dad would just shake his head and tell me, son, don't break it. And now I've learned, don't over tighten it. Okay. So now we're going to put our brake lines on the bottom with the banjo bolts. So wipe them clean with a rag on both sides of the brake line. Take your banjo bolt, both your washers, make sure that they're clean of debris. And you can reuse them if they're not damaged. If they're not scratched or dinged. And these you can tell are smooth and clean. So put the banjo bolt through the bottom side. Then put the washer. Then thread it in the master cylinder. And be careful, it's threading into aluminum and it can strip easily. So don't put a wrench on it until you've threaded it all the way in and got it snug by your hand. Now, I've had the cameraman help me bleed the back brakes. He pumped the brakes while I bled the bleeder on the rear brakes. And I had him pump the brakes while I bled the bleeder on the right front wheel. Now we're here to the left front wheel. This is where we're going to finish up bleeding. And so this is the best way I've ever found to bleed brakes. Some people think you pump the pedal a bunch of times and then bleed it. I found this works much better. Open the bleeder, push the pedal down and hold it. Tighten the bleeder. That one looked good. We'll do it one more time. Let off the pedal, open the bleeder, push the pedal, hold it down while you tighten the bleeder. Alright, don't forget to cover the bleeders up. Check how the pedal feels. It's a good firm pedal. Feels like it should. Okay. Wheels roll freely. Brake pedal, let's stop. Alright guys, we've successfully fixed a master cylinder where the piston has been frozen up on a Razor 170. Now, as these machines start to get a little bit older and more popular, this will probably be a common problem. Because the way the boot doesn't seal up on that shaft like it should, I have a feeling these will be coming in more like this as time goes on. Hey. Alright, so now we've got both of our brake lines mounted to the bottom of the master cylinder and tightened up both banjo bolts. Now we're going to fill up the reservoir. With .4 brake fluid.
It's hard to see in the reservoir, so put your light behind it. Okay. With the light behind it, you can see when it's full. All right. Now we're going to bleed our master cylinder. Going to open the rear bleeder, open the front bleeder. Push the pedal all the way down, hold it down. Now that they're both tightened, you can let off on the pedal. Now loosen the bleeders again. Push the pedal all the way down, hold the pedal down, tighten both bleeders. Let off the pedal, loosen both bleeders, push the pedal down. Now we've got fluid coming through. It's a good sign. Tighten both bleeders, let off the pedal. Now loosen both bleeders again. Push the pedal down slowly all the way. Hold the pedal down, tighten the bleeders, let off the pedal. Now again, one more time, we'll loosen each bleeder. Push the pedal all the way down. Hold the pedal down, tighten both bleeders. That time I didn't see air bubbles come out. So now we're done bleeding the master cylinder. And it has a good brake pedal. Alright, so we're going to continue bleeding our brakes. We're going to start with the back brakes because they say you're supposed to bleed the brakes starting at the farthest wheel from the master cylinder, which would be the right rear wheel. And that's where the rear brakes are mounted. And then we'll do the right front wheel, and then we'll do the left front wheel. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. I love teaching people. I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. My dad taught me a lot of things. So I hope to share them with you and benefit you. So hit the like button, hit subscribe, and we'll be dropping another video soon. See you next time.